Sure.
Okay. Dear participants, please ask your friends, colleagues to join as early as possible. We are going to start the session in a minute or two.
Hello, good morning and welcome to all the participants and today's resource person, Shri Ashwin Gowda, sir. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, all. Thank you.
Yes, sir. It's our pleasure to have you on day 4, session 1 of the AICT IST sponsored refresher program on the role of technical institutes in promoting innovation in skill development, employability, and entrepreneurship. We are all delighted to have you here, sir. Before we get started with your session, I just request Chanaka Lakkanur madam to have a brief introduction about today's resource person and we continue. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good
Thank
morning,
you.
one and all. Myself, Chanaka Lakkanava, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of ENC, STM CET Dharwad. Now I am going to introduce eminent resource person, Mr. Ashwin D. Gowda, who is going to throw light on the topic NEP 2020 skill development and internship perspectives. Sir has completed his post graduation in MA Public Administration from IGNOU, MA in Literature of Kannada Language from KSOU, Masters in Taxation and Business Laws from NAL SAR University, Hyderabad. Mr. Ashwin D. Gowda is currently serving as Managing Director, Karnataka Skills Development Corporation, Government of Karnataka, Bengaluru. Sir has cleared Indian Revenue Services, a civil services competitive exam in India conducted by UPSC for recruitment to Revenue Department in the year 2011. Sir has served in various capacities. He served as a Managing Director, Karnataka Vocational Training and Skill Development Corporation Limited. He also served as Director, Karnataka Vidyut Karkhane Limited. Sir has also served as whole-time Director, Karnataka Power Transmission Corporation Limited. He has rendered his services as Assistant and Deputy Commissioner of Income Tax in Maharashtra and Kerala. Sir is actively involved in making various skill development schemes of Government of Karnataka to reach the young community and help them to lead independent, self-reliant and sustainable life. Sir is the source of guidance and motivation for the young minds preparing for civil services exam. Sir has motivated young minds for the preparation of personality test for UPSC Civil Services exam at Dr. Rajkumar Academy of Civil Services. It's our pleasure and honor to have such an eminent personality amongst us. We at STM-CET heartily welcome Mr. Ashwin D. Gowda for this 1 week online AICTE ISTE sponsored induction bars refresher program on the theme, the role of technical institutes in promoting innovation in skill development, employability and entrepreneurship. Sir, I request you to take over the session and throw the light on NEP 2020 skill development and entrepreneurship perspectives. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you very much, madam, and thanks to all the dignitaries. Thank you, Mr. Navalgund, for inviting me. In fact, literally, I'll tell you, it's my proud privilege to be a part of this event. In fact, you've been organizing this workshop on bringing about innovations, initiatives in skill development, entrepreneurship, making use of the technical institutes. So this is really a great initiative. So my sincere thanks to you for that. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so today I'm going to anyways, share my PPT and then explain about the perspectives of skill development and entrepreneurship in the National Education Policy 2020. In fact, you must be wondering that the national, the skill development and entrepreneurship are now being considered as the buzzwords in the industry academia ecosystem. So everywhere we talk about the skill development, especially for our youth, and entrepreneurship abilities for our youth. In fact, agility, adaptability, and entrepreneurial capability are the guiding factors based on which the employability of our future generation depends actually. However, I'll tell you, you won't be surprised, if I tell you that the skill development and entrepreneurship are related to the Indian ecosystem since many ages. In the sense, the entire Indian social system, the cultural ethos, the sociological structure depends on skill development. Say, for example, currently we have our caste system, Akkaliga, then Achari, Akkasaliga, Chammara, Kumbara, and all. So they are all actually based out of the skills that they possessed and also the entrepreneurship that they undertook over the years. So skill development and entrepreneurship are not new words as such. In fact, they have been associated with our system for many years. However, the National Education Policy 2020, in fact, formalized these two concepts into the mainstream education, unlike the previous the education policies of 1968 and 1986. So now let us look at the policy as to how these aspects of skill development and the entrepreneurship have been given importance and have been inculcated into the mainstream education system. So this is the index of the PPT. Okay, so we'll have a broad picture about the vision of the NEP. So NEP 2020 basically aims at building a society, building an Indian society with by inculcating sense of fundamental rights, duties, roles, responsibilities for our youth, and also tries to inculcate the sense of oneness with our country by instilling skills, knowledge, and values in education which reflect as a true global citizen. In fact, it talks about equitable and vibrant knowledge society. So when we say equitable, it is about providing equal access.
Excuse me, sir. Sorry to disturb you, sir. Are you sharing your
Yes.
PPTs right now, sir? We're not able to see
Yes.
it. We're not able to see it, sir.
Oh.
Yeah, please, sir.
Just a second.
Yeah.
You're not able to see the PPTs, huh?
Yes, sir.
I'm so sorry. Just a second. Let me
No issues, sir. No issues.
Let me share my screen first. I'm so sorry.
Yes, sir. Now it is visible, sir.
Now it is visible, right?
It is coming up.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank
Thank you, sir.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay. So now let us look at the vision of this. So it talks about, NEP talks about the equitable and vibrant knowledge society. So when we say equitability, it is about providing equal access to the education, the primary, secondary, and higher education to all sections of the society, irrespective of the caste, creed, race, religion, gender, and so on. And then it also talks about vibrant knowledge society, vibrancy. That is in terms of pursuing, giving an opportunity to an individual to pursue the education of his choice. So the diverse options will be provided to him, and then he'll also be given the independence to pursue the education of his choice by providing high quality education. And then NEP talks about orientation towards rights, duties, values. Of late, we have been hearing so much of voice and noise about the rights and responsibilities. So the new education policy, in fact, the National Education Policy 2020 also provides this sense of fundamental rights, duties, values enshrined in our constitutions and bonding with the country to our candidates by inculcating these values in the education stream, the mainstream education system. And then the NEP also tries to develop a global mindset by instilling skills and values in education. And this is very, very important. Of late, actually, there has been decrease. That is what I feel. There has been decrease in values. So there is an urgency in the form of, there is a requirement in the form of instilling all these values and skills and the civic sense, especially in the young minds. So this would definitely help us in developing the right to human rights and sustainable development and reflect ourselves as a truly global citizen. So transforming curriculum and the pedagogical structure. So you must be knowing that NEP has brought about a revolutionary change in the pedagogical structure. But now it is so the equal importance has been given for the pre-nursery Anganwadi education too. It is like 5+3+3+4. That is a foundational stage of education for 5 years from pre-nursery to class 2, where the activity-based learning will be given a lot of importance, and then preparatory stage from class 3 to 5 years, where the various the candidate will be, the student will be made to discover about the various aspects, and activity-based learning and interactive classroom learning will be given importance. And the middle stage of 3 years, that is class 6 to 8, where the experiential learning will be provided in science, mathematics, arts, and this is where the occasional education will also be brought in. And this is the stage where the skill development is being introduced into the formal education system by NEP. And then we have the secondary stage of 4 years, that is from class 9th to 12th standard, where multidisciplinary study, that is there is no separation of arts, commerce, or science. Anybody can study any subjects of their choice, and proper credits will be given. So critical thinking, logical reasoning, and all the 21st century communication skills and 21st century life skills will also be provided importance, and will be given in this, will be imparted to our students in this secondary stage. And afterwards, anyways, you must be knowing that the candidates can have the exit formulas, the exit options at different stages. After completion of year 1, it is not diploma, it is certificate will be provided. And after year 2, diploma certificates will be provided. And after 3 years, he'll be given degree certificates, bachelor certificates basically, and 4 years of integrated advanced bachelor certificates will be given, and advanced and 5 years of integrated master's education option is also provided in the NEP. Okay, so we can say that the broad principles of NEP 2020 can be seen as this: schooling at the age of 3. All along, though the importance was given, it was not structured, but now NEP is formalizing this schooling at the age of 3 itself through interactive based learning. Then 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 education structure, okay, which provides which focuses on different aspects at different levels of schooling. Then mother tongue is given a lot of importance as a medium of instruction. However, English language can also be taught. And then academic bank of credit, ABC. This is more important when it comes to higher education. See, student may have completed the BA, let's say first year of a BA in Sheshadripuram College, and then he gets transferred to Bihar, where he can continue his second year using the credits that he has in his academic bank, right? And even after complete, let's say because of some reasons, if he goes out and then comes back again, then also he can complete his courses using the credits available in his bank. This is the revolutionary approach once again. And then special education for special children with special needs. So MPhil courses have been discontinued, and then fixed college fees. Then it also aims at attaining 50% gross enrollment ratio by 2035. And then common college entrance exam twice a year because of the multiplicity of exams, easier board exams, and occasional education and internships from standard 6. I mean, the whole talk about the national education policy as an innovative one, as a revolutionary one, is purely because of this introduction of occasional education, so which we will discuss in detail in the coming slides though. So no separation of arts, commerce, and science. Yes, these are the basic broad principles and the principles of NEP, similarly which has been discussed in the earlier slides. And now let us get into the provisions for occasional education in the NEP 2020. See, as I've been telling that, the National Education Policy 2020 aims to recalibrate, restructure the current education system to meet the needs of the industries, to meet the needs of the time, the changing technology advancements in the changing technological advancements and other things. So to provide that, it is bringing about occasional education and integrating this with the mainstream education system. In fact, if you look at the 12th five-year plan, it estimated that only very small percentage of the Indian workforce is in the, has been provided with the formal education. It is hardly 5%. And when it comes to the age group of, let's say, 16 to 35, which is often considered to be the youth population, it is only 13%. Only 13% of our youth in the entire country have received the formal education in one way, vocational education in one way or the other, which is way low when compared to countries such as USA, Germany, Denmark, Korea, where it is more than 50%. And for example, in Korea, it is more than 96%. And such is the importance given to occasional education by these countries. So this has been underlined by the national education policy. And then, it underlined the urgency of the need to hasten the spread of occasional education in India. So it addresses the challenges on both the demand and supply side of vocational education. See, when we talk about the demand side of vocational education, it is about the demands of the industries. The demands of various industries, the local industries across various job roles, these are to be identified. And the supply side of vocational education provides, talks about the supply of skilled manpower to meet the needs of these demands of the industries. So NEP identifies that there are challenges in meeting the demands and supplies of the industrial needs of the skilled manpower, and then it makes an effort to mitigate it. NEP also discards the theoretical part of vocational training and emphasizes teaching only practical aspects. See, this is more important. All along, off late, in fact, our education system, whether we like it or not, it is morely, it is basically dependent on the rote system. But now the NEP provides more importance for experiential learning, that is for the practical aspects of it, rather than the theoretical part. And then NEP also tries to make vocational education more structured. It recommends proper skills gap analysis and mapping of local opportunities to assign vocational courses relevant to a particular area. And this is very, very important. See, because the different geographies of India, or for that matter, of our own state, different districts of our own states have got different industries, different industrial clusters, and different local opportunities, local resources available, right? So we have to identify the local industries, the local opportunities, resources, and the corresponding talented youth, and also the skill gap. We have to map and identify the skill gap, and based on that, the talent, the skill training has to be provided to ensure a proper supply of the skilled manpower to these industries to make use of the local resources. And this is what NEP talks about and gives importance to. So it also talks about seeking an alignment of vocational occupations with international standards as prescribed by the International Labour Organization. See, this is more important because all these days, our vocational education is aligned to National Skill Qualification Framework with the National Occupation Standards. It's called NOS. Okay. However, now the NEP wants to make these occupational standards to be aligned with the international standards, and hence whoever has received our vocational education will be made available to the global demand, will be made available to the global workforce pool. So this is what the NEP aims at, and for this necessary steps also have been taken up. And then it recommends inclusion of industries and organizations, NGOs and civil society organizations in implementing this NSQF, in the sense that it is more holistic. It is not only related to colleges, institutions, rather the civil society organizations, the NGOs, they have got, and the industry, they have got their own expertise in providing and imparting skill training, and NEP provides for the inclusion of these organizations in implementation of vocational education too. See, if you look at, we have been talking about the skill development, vocational education, and stuff like that. And the importance is mainly because of this. See, if you look at the South Korea, Germany, USA, Denmark, Egypt, in fact, countries, see, all these countries, if you put all these countries, they're not equivalent to India's population. But look at the amount of, the youth, the number of youth that they have undergone this vocational education. So that is the amount of the importance that they have been giving for vocational education, and so far it is very less. And the NEP tries to address this particular problem through various interventions. So the most important aspect of one such reason as to why there is a low turnout of youth having undergone this formal vocational education in our country is basically the social stigma that we are attaching to vocational education. See, if I ask you a question like this, like how many of you want to become plumbers, carpenters, or let's say electricians? The answer would be obviously, I can sense the answer would be obviously zero. Suppose if I say that, if I ask the same question, like as to how many of you would want to become engineers, medical doctors and all, so it would be 100% at least, right? Because the answer to these questions are mainly because of the social stigma that we are attaching to the vocational education. Suppose if somebody comes and says, I want to become a plumber, definitely our response to that person would be horrible. Oh, he wants to become a plumber, he wants to become a carpenter. What is he going to achieve? But friends, I will tell you, you don't believe. In fact, every day, very frequently, in my office, actually, one or the other person would be coming, especially the engineering graduates who come and ask for jobs. And I know many of the candidates who have been working, many of the engineering students have been working for almost 15,000, 20,000 per month, and that too not in their domain skills. In cases like supply chain management, person might have done mechanical engineering, but now he is working in supply chain management. Okay, that too for a salary of let's say 15 to 20,000. But you don't believe. Plumbers, carpenters, and electricians in cities like Bangalore, Mysore, Hubli, Dharwad are anyway charging between 1,000 to 2,000 rupees per hour for their for providing their services, and they're earning anywhere between 50,000 to 60,000, 1 lakh. In fact, it crosses many times. It crosses more than 1 lakh. In fact, okay, but we are not ready to get educated in those occasional arenas. because of the social stigma that we are attaching. And NEP tries to. Okay, I think there is some disturbance in the network. I mean, what do you call? I'm getting the sound of my own voice. You know, it is echoing. Is it the same for others? Is it the same for others?
No, sir.
Okay, it's not the same for others, right? Okay. Okay, chalo, no problem. So what I'm trying to say is actually NEP tries to remove these social stigma attached to occasionalization by bringing the occasional education into the formal education system. So this is one major revolutionary step that has been taken by NEP, and NEP okay, integrates occasional programs into mainstream education in all education institutions in a phased manner, which would lead to emphasizing the dignity of labor and importance of various occasions involving Indian arts and artisanship. This is very, very important. As I suggested, NEP would introduce vocational education in class 6th itself, and then gives, I mean, brings the candidates, I mean, gives an awareness about the candidate, I mean, gives an awareness about the various vocational education and the various career opportunities available to the youth by bringing about the importance of dignity of labor and the various occasions involving Indian arts and artisanship. Okay, and then teaching NEP also provides for teaching of vocational courses from class 6, mostly in the form of internship and practical activities, to ensure that every student should at least study one occasional course. Okay, so this would be based on the local resources available and the local opportunities available. So he would be exposed to all the industries and also the concerned connected the factories through internships, through 1 week, 10 days of bagless internships with the local occasional experts. Okay, so this would also provide the students opportunities and awareness about the various options available to him. And then similar internship opportunities to learn various occasional subjects may be made available to students throughout grade 6 to 12, including holiday period, not only limited to their formal education time, but also during their occasions. Okay, vacations, they will be exposed to these occasional courses. And then NEP tries to bring about this national higher education qualification framework. Okay, so that will be made in sync with the National Skill Qualification Framework. You must be knowing National Skill Qualification Framework is the framework through which all the short-term courses of skill development are being imparted. Okay, so they are aligned with the national occupation standards, and these are the standards based on which the content and curriculum will be developed by the industry, and the skills will be imparted to the candidates. Okay, so the NHEQF will be synced with the NSQF to ease the integration of vocational education into higher education. This is one way of formalizing this vocational education. And GEC will be mandated to identify specific skills that students must acquire during their academic programs, and this will be based on the skill gap analysis. So the local skills, I mean, the local industries opportunities will be identified, the local talent youth will be identified, and the whatever gap is there, that will be mapped and provided to the students to acquire their academic programs. So NEP 2020 can be, I mean, we can summarize the vocational education and the importance of vocational education given by NEP 2020 in the following ways. So challenge, it addresses the challenge that there is extremely low access to vocational education, which is less than 5% as discussed earlier. And then it comes up with skill labs, hub and spoke model. You must be knowing. See, the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Skill Development Entrepreneurship has already started a program called Skill Hub Initiative, under which the schools and colleges and the ITIs under Samagra Shikshana Abhiyan have been designated as the hub schools. The skill labs have been created there with equipments and machineries on various job roles. And the local schools and the nearby schools and other educational institutions, the students of these institutions can make use of the equipments available, can make use of the machineries and get the formal vocational education available in these hub schools. Okay, so this has been already introduced in Karnataka, and it is currently being utilized by many dropouts. And then alignment of Indian standards with ISCO, that is Indian occupational standards, will be aligned with Indian standards classification, international standard classification of occupation, so that the vocational courses will get the recognition at the international level too. Okay, so this the Department of Skill Development in Karnataka also is in talks with the German government, for inculcating this the German standards in our system, so that our students will get easy placements in German vocational education. I mean, German companies though. So, and then gain social status of vocational education. This has already been, I have already discussed that, by bringing vocational education to the formal education, so children will be made aware about the importance of vocational education, importance of each job, like carpentry, electrician, plumber, and everything. So social stigma attached to it will be removed, and that will also, the dignity of labor of these occupations will also be upheld. So NEP provides for that. And then formation of NCIVE, that is National Committee for the Integration of Vocational Education. So this committee will be created mainly to to promote the vocational educations. To promote vocational education, identify the challenges across various levels, and then different education institutions, and then rural and urban divides. And then the policy will be formulated based on the committee recommendations. This is basically to monitor the implementation of this vocational education in NEP. Then emphasis of dignity of labor. Yes, this is very, very important, and NEP aims at upholding the dignity of labor of each job roles. And then collaboration of education institutions. So under the hub and spoke model, the hub schools, the hub education institutions will be identified and will be equipped with the proper equipments, and then the nearby education institutions can make use of this. So you must be knowing that the Department of Skill Development, Entrepreneurship and Livelihood, Government of Karnataka, has already upgraded 150 ITIs across the state, especially in Hubli and Dharwad. Also around 5 ITIs have been upgraded at a cost of 4,500 crores. It is a huge mammoth investment that is being made out of the CSR of the Tata Technology Limited. I request each of you to kindly go and visit your nearest ITI, upgraded ITIs, where the courses like robotics, 3D printing, electric vehicle, advanced robotics and advanced mechatronics, everything has been introduced over there. So basically Industry 4.0, automotive, automation technology also has been introduced in those ITIs. So they will also be identified. They will also be working as the hub model. I mean, they'll also be working as the hub schools, hub institutions under this NEP. Then incubation centers, NEP provides for it gives equal importance for incubation centers too, because our kids, those who have got multiple ideas, they can come up with the ideas, they can come up with their the suggestions, and then they can find a proper center where they can get proper hand holding, support, guidance, mentorship to improve upon their ideas and to become entrepreneurs. So that provision will also be provided by the NEP. So basically, we want to say that the NEP has occasionalized our education system. So it develops the skill-based mainstream education system with indigenously developed content and curriculum. This is more important. Okay, so NEP develops skill-based mainstream education system. It is not just education system; it is a skill-based, making the youth employable with indigenously developed content and curriculum. So this is more important. Indigenously developed content and curriculum. In fact, you won't believe there are several entrepreneurs across the state. They have developed their own strategies in getting the better productivity of their products. So the content, we actually have been approaching them, and then we are developing the content and curriculum based on the local resources. It's like local solutions for the local problems. So we are developing the indigenously content and curriculum to meet the needs of international workforce. Okay, to meet the needs of the international demand requirements, and making it accessible to everyone by introducing different learning modes. So practice-based curriculum, it is not theoretical, it is not rote system, it is completely based on the practice. Then skill gap analysis for mapping of local opportunities, open distance learning mode. That is, as I told you in the beginning, even for Divyang and for special childs also, kids, children also, this open distance learning mode is available. So courses will be offered under this mode. Then exposure to occasional education. By providing exposure to occasional education, NEP aims at creating awareness about this occasional education and exposure to almost 50% of the learners by 2025. Then Lok Vidya, So Lokavidya is actually the knowledge developed in India to be made accessible to the students about various job roles and the things related to it. Then skills framework, NSQF, the National Skill Qualification Framework, to be detailed further for each discipline. See, now itself the NSQF is very detailed for everything, for both short-term and long-term courses, and this will be further minuted for each discipline. And then occasional craft. So the internship opportunity will be provided for the students of grade 6 to 8 under occasional experts like carpenters, gardeners, potters, artists, and various other artisans, various other artisans. And they will also be exposed to the challenges and opportunities that these people have. So NEP 2020 basically, NEP 2020 basically talks about bridging the skill gap. This is very, very important. I've been telling you about this. So basically, there is a skill gaps. In fact, KSDC has also conducted a skill gap analysis. And during our skill gap analysis of 3 districts, including the Hubli Dharwad, we have come across so many deficit areas. In fact, you won't believe that MSME sector is there, and they have requirements. So based on the study that we conducted, I can say that there are jobs are plenty. In the sense, everywhere the jobs are available, but the point is with respect to the attitude and aspirations of our candidates and the employability of our candidates, that is also there, and the changed living conditions for candidates too. Say, for example, the ITI students are there. In fact, they have been trained for 2 years in various several trades like turner, fitter, welder, and all. And there is a lot of demand for welders, especially in Karnataka. But if you look at the people who are being employed in welding trade, it is too minimal. In fact, people from Orissa, Bihar, they are coming and occupying it. There are several reasons to it. We have interacted with both both the students as well as the industry sector. They have got their own answers to it. But what I suggest is, that attitude needs to be developed, inculcated in the minds of the kids right from the education level itself. And NEP is the right direction in this type. Okay, so NEP provides for this, skill gap analysis. The technological advances of the last few decades have transformed every aspect of the working landscape, which we are aware of, leading to big changes in the skill expectations from the employers. Whenever we talk to the employers, to the industries, one thing they say is the candidates are not employable. They always say that the candidates are not employable, and because of the technological disruptions that are happening. The technology is getting changed rapidly. It is rapidly advancing, rapidly transforming the landscapes, and we are not able. The current curriculum and content is not able to match our students to the changing, rapid, changing times of technological advancements. So NEP tries to do this, tries to address this issue also, and addressing the skill challenges. So recalibration of the education system becomes imperative when we consider the worrying skill gap that is affecting employability in every sector, and this is what is being addressed by NEP. And as per the National Council for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, which has cited the data from International Labour Organization, there is a skill deficit of 29 million, that is approximately let's say 2.9 crores by 2030, but I would suggest it is much more than this. Based on my experience, based on my interaction with the industry, it is much more than this. And this gap has already made an impact, with 53% of Indian business reportedly unable to hire suitable candidates because of the lack of future skills across different sectors. That's very, very, very true. In fact, the Karnataka Skill Development Corporation, under its Industry Connect program, is conducting the industry conclaves meeting, where we are reaching out to the industries on one-to-one basis, mainly to identify their demand requirements, and then design our training activities based on that demands, and then provide the trained manpower to them for deployment. But if you ask the candidates, we have had interaction with even public sector enterprises like BEL, BHEL, BEML, and all. They say that the formal education, the basic education that they have got itself is faulty, and they're not able to express themselves. They don't have the domain skills. All these problems are there, so this needs to be addressed, and the NEP tries to address this through this, by bringing about vocational education into the mainstream. And then NEP also talks about holistic learning, and this is quite important. So because most of the times actually we will be confining ourselves to, especially in the higher education, we'll be confining ourselves to science, mathematics, and all. Though I'm interested in studying arts, humanities, and though I want to pursue sports and fitness along with my studies in science and mathematics, all along this opportunity was not there. But NEP provides for the holistic learning approach, in the sense it calls for a creative and multidisciplinary curriculum that includes humanities, sports, fitness, language, culture, arts, and crafts. Suppose if I'm interested in if I'm pursuing science, I can even pursue history if I'm interested. So that kind of flexibility is being provided by NEP. And it also recognizes and gives equal importance for soft skills such as communication, cooperation, teamwork, resilience, logical thinking, creativity, and which are often considered as life skills. And these are very, very important. Since this session is also being attended by many assistant professors, I would my sincere request to all of you is that you kindly, apart from your domain skilling, that is technical skilling, technical teaching, kindly provide a sufficient time for improving the soft skills of the candidates. You don't believe, we have been conducting mega job fairs in Belgaum, in Kalburgi, and on March 3rd we did it even in Mangalore, Dakshin Kannada. But we have been witnessing this. If you look at the level of soft skills that our candidates have, it's really pathetic. I'm very sorry to say this, but yes, it's really pathetic. Many of the times they don't even know as to how to address themselves when a question is asked as, introduce yourself. Definitely not. They say, I'm so and so, I've done so and so, I'm from so and so. Is this enough to explain about their personality when the question is asked about introduce yourself? So many of the times, though they are technically efficient, but they falter in communicating what they're supposed to convey. So that is the importance of soft skills. I would suggest, this is my sincere request to all of you to kindly give equal importance for soft skills to improve the communication in the candidates and try to develop the life skills amongst them. And this would definitely go a long way in improving their personality too. So NEP gives equal importance for development of soft skills. And then multidisciplinary approach. Okay, so this is another important aspect of NEP. It provides for cross-sectional selection of courses, which I already explained. It is not just confining myself to either medicine or engineering or science. Rather, I can even pursue economics under commerce, and then history and literature under humanities too, while pursuing the science subjects. So this provides for an opportunity. This is what I meant when I said diversified education system. That is what the NEP is talking about. Okay, so with the advent of Industry 4.0, hiring managers are now increasingly looking for people who can combine sector expertise with digital competence and industry-based skill. Yes. So now an illiterate is not no more a person with no ability to write and read and write, rather a person with no understanding or not able to handle computer, mobile, or any other technical gadgets. So that is the definition of an illiterate. So the digital competency, the financial literacy, industry-based skills are all added advantage for an individual with the technical skills. So there is a lot of demand for them. So I would suggest our people can look into this also. And NEP is what NEP talks about this too. So industry-based, demand-driven curriculum, it is no more the age-old curriculum. Rather, it keeps changing. NEP provides for us having customized demand-driven curriculum for the candidates. And that's very, very important. With the inclusion of professional reskilling and upskilling, these institutions also rope in corporate India as an important stakeholder in ensuring on-the-job training. In-job training, yes. See, NEP provides for upskilling, reskilling of